Terry, have you found the mute button?
Wait a minute, give me a second.
I'm Janice, and I always tune in to the SPRB radio podcast with General Culture and Sister Sharon Mango. Yo, you don't have to take my word for it. Just tune in and catch the vibration. Yeah, this one is knockings.
Hi, this is your girl Winnie.
And this is your girl Freddie.
From out of London.
And we fully endorse
SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General
and Sharon Mango. Check them out.
Hey, what's up? My name is Rayvon and I fully support SPRB Radio Podcast. Check in.
Blessed love universally. This is the original Mark Daddy Mike Jarrett endorsing. Yes, one of the greatest podcasts that I have listened to, seen, and so happy to be a part of it. I'm talking about SPRB Podcast with 10-Star General and the original, yes, Sharon Mango. Tell it to the world. Let them know that this podcast, hey, run things universally. Mark Daddy said that. Mark Daddy. Mark Daddy, Mark Daddy, Mark Daddy. Oh, Mark Daddy. Yes, bless up 10-Star General and the original Sharon Mangos. Them run things when you talk about podcasts here. Blessed love universally.
Greetings, my name is Freddie Green. I'm from Nigeria and I fully endorse the SPRB radio podcast with the 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Trust me, I know you will not be disappointed. Respect.
I just need one chance with you.
This is an SPRB radio podcast promotion. Maxine Brown's brand new single, I Just Need One Chance With You, is out now on all digital platforms.
I just need one chance with you.
Get your copy now.
Now this is the original Mark Daddy Mikey Jarrett. Big up SPRB Radio. Run the track.
Break out the food and the drinks, it's gonna be a party. Turn up the music real loud, invite everybody. Go right ahead and smoke and play some cards, just make yourself at home. It's okay to take somebody's hand and get your groove on. We're all up in here, Sammy couldn't be better. I love to see my people come together, talking about friends.
Now this is the original Mark Daddy Mikey Jarrett. Big up SPRB Radio.
I'm talking about friends and family.
Yes, beautiful people. We are back here presenting the Mental Health Awareness Show. Let me see if we have everybody here at the moment. Everybody's here. Check, mic check. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's good to have everybody here today, and thank you all for being here for another episode, another edition of the Mental Health Awareness Show. Today we have two phenomenal guests who's going to be sharing with us their story. I'm going to be in the background today, so Sharon is going to be leading this podcast show today. I'm going to be in the background, but every now and again, I'll be interjecting here and there. As per normal, everybody's going to introduce themselves as per normal, just so that I can introduce myself, so I can wither away into the background. I'm 10 Star General. I'm one of the podcast founders and presenters, the host of this podcast. One reason why we are doing this is because we want to normalize talking amongst ourselves about stuff that we go through. It's been part of I would say, I wouldn't say tradition, but it's become more of a culture whereby we tend to hide what we go through for fear of being ridiculed and so on and so forth, which has led to a high number of suicides that we all know of. Every other day we keep hearing of young people, old people committing suicides. Why is this? And it continues to baffle me to this day. So one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, and especially this particular show, is so that we could come together, normalize, and the operative word is normalize, talking amongst ourselves about the things that we go through. So we're going to introduce ourselves individually. I'm going to move over to Sharon Mango so that she can introduce herself. And then she's just going to go around the screen. Everybody introduce yourselves, and we're just going to kick off as per normal. So thank you all for being here. And thank you to all our listeners who might be on the outside, whether you're listening through Facebook or you're listening through or watching us on YouTube. Thank you for being here. And once again, please help us to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I keep on forgetting to say that. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. So over to Sharon Mango, and I'm going to take off my camera and let Sharon go ahead and introduce herself and push this forward.
Oh my gosh, my glasses. Good evening, good afternoon, beautiful people. Hoping everyone is well. I am Sharon Mango, one of the hosts for SBRB Radio, and we are going to be talking to two very beautiful people. I've come to know Chris. Chris is like my friend from back in the day, and I didn't even know him back in the day. And then his amazing partner, Miss Terry McKay. I feel like I've known this young lady also, so you're family anyway. But welcome, welcome, welcome. And obviously, we cannot wait to get into your story. I want to go around the room and make sure everybody introduces themselves. So again, I am Sharon Mango. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. Yeah, I had a bad hair day today, I'm not ashamed to say that, but I washed my hair, right? And then I said, what am I going to do with my hair? I have to look nice for everybody. So I just wrapped it up. So excuse me. Well, go around the room now. So let's go with, I know. We have to put a light on everything, make everybody smile like, listen, I'm on camera, bad hair day. We wrapped it with a scarf. Here we are.
Russ Mango.
Yeah, Russ Mango today. Yes, it's one of those days. You know what I mean? So, Rankin Ann, introduce yourself, my queen.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Rankin Ann. I've been in the music business for over 40 years, but for longer than that, I've had a real interest in mental health because of looking at self-examination and what friends and family have been through, and also for many decades working with children and families where mental health is an issue. So I have a real investment in seeing people speak out about what they're experiencing in a bid to help them improve their health, mental health, and just life in general. Oh, before I finish, just one more thing to add to 10 Star. When you subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell, which means that you will be notified every time we come on air, and you can join us on YouTube. So the notification bell is very important for you to hit that as well.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Forgot about the bell, didn't you, 10 Star? Anyway, leave them alone. So, Sharon Bentley, please introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sharon Bentley from Vibes Peace Freedom Music Promotion and a part of the SPRB podcast team. I've been here around for a while, and I'm here to, support the team and support my fellow pupil who need my help. whether it's just by communicating or you know listening. Just I'm here to support you.
Thank you so much. My favorite DJ in the world, and I'm not lying. If I could sell your ass, I would. DJ Maestro, please. He's an amazing individual. You just don't get better than him.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm just laughing first. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for that. Yes, sorry. Let me get my professional hat on. Try and put that on. Good evening, everybody. Yes, as Sharon said, my name's DJ Maestro. Been doing this for many years, probably from when I was at 15. Currently, I'm currently on a DJ radio station called Lovers Up Radio, and I am blessed to be a part of this podcast team. So just to bring awareness to people who are in uncomfortable positions, maybe not uncomfortable positions, but stories that they may not want to talk about, but that's what we are here for. Just a listening ear. We may not have all the answers, but it's a learning curve for us as well. So I'm grateful for Terry and Chris to be on there to tell their story. We're not here to judge anybody. We're just here to listen, and hopefully, this can benefit. Their story can benefit someone else. And also to the global listeners tuning in, thank you and welcome. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you so much. I'd call on Beverly. Beverly, we know that you're there, and I love you so much, but I know you're having mic issues, so I don't want to bring you on. This is going to be nuts for you, but we have Beverly Notes, an amazing vocalist, background vocalist. This woman has been in the industry for many, many years, and she's a great, great supporter of SPRB Radio and mental health. And of course, because of her works of helping others in mental health. So Beverly Notes is here. I love you, my friend, and everybody knows who you are. 10-star General, thank you so much for your little intro. It was great. He wants me to lead it, so now you have Sharon Mango, right? So here I am. I'll probably make you laugh. I might even make you cry, but I'm going to tell you now. The truth is going to be told here. We're here to support two beautiful people. We want to know your story. This particular story in general it is a love story. That has a lot of intricate parts happening that's basically keeping two people away. I want the understanding to know, again, this is a love story where the powers that be is keeping two beautiful people from each other because of the system, bureaucratic system. So I don't know who's going to go first, but Chris or Terry, it's 100% up to you, because Chris is a good talker, Chris will sit there and tell you. Now you don't have to read everything.
If you want me to.
Yes, dear, you can go first.
But yes, definitely tell us about your situation, number one. And because again, this is on mental health, and I know that this has affected you both in so many ways, but the story itself is unreal. So, Chris, please go ahead.
Well, I've been around a long time. Just to give you a background, I was blessed by having a father who loved music of every kind. So I was introduced to music very early on. The first song I can ever remember is Summertime from Porgy and Bess. My mum had an incredible singing voice as well, so she would always sing along to it. But my dad loved all types of music, which was unusual for someone of his age. Do you know what I mean? It was a good grounding for what happened as time progressed. So I eventually ended up in music management and having a boutique record label, and that was all good fun until it got to a certain age point where I wanted to be in bed at 12 o'clock, not running around gigs, you know. But that's how Terry and I first came together as well. And hats have a thing in this. That's why I'm wearing a hat today. But I've had a bad hair day, Sharon. Listen, we talked about this. Let's have a little joke. Why is it when you get older that your hair only grows long at the top, not in length anymore? Why is it when you get older? You're muted, Sharon.
On mute, Sharon.
Listen, everybody's different. Yeah, I can't say I'm missing anything on the top and bottom. It's just a lot, and it would be a gigantic afro, so I have to squeeze it up, wrap it up. You know what I mean? But you're talking about losing some hair on the top. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm not losing it. What I'm saying is that I've got a full head of hair, but it doesn't seem to grow at the back anymore.
Wow.
And when I think back to my teenage years, I mean, my hair was extremely tightly curly, and I grew it halfway down my back until I got pulled off at work. And in the rain, it used to lock up, soft locks. It was really funny. But now it just don't grow at the back. It just grows upwards, like one of them soldiers at the Tower of London.
Dave, I don't know. Can't help you there. And I do hear, so I'm like,
Listen, let's get on the subject. I'm going to let Terry talk. Terry and I came together through Facebook originally.
Yes.
And we built our relationship over the Skype as well, because there was no FaceTime at that point. And we had a period where, I mean, we got to know each other initially in October 2013. And it progressed slowly, and I'll let Terry talk about that, because she was very patient with knowing that I hadn't. I'm not sure I was ready for another relationship. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And she patiently waited, and would sing certain songs to me as well as us playing them, where she was trying to give a subtle hint that everything's going to be fine. And it was on the July the 14th, 2014, when we were just chatting as normal, and I said, "Are we in a relationship?" And Terry said to me, "I think we are." and then we just made a decision to make it public, basically on Facebook more than anything, and just to let everybody know that we were together. And we've since that time had over 9 years of glorious love. However, it has, there's been some interruptions and some. We get over the stress point of view, but because we're strong and we know that we're going to do battle and everything. But there's been 2 occasions where Terry's attempted to come over and stay with me. Now, we've made mistakes. Initially, the very first visit was triggered from not having adequate insurance cover. But I can relate back to what was being told to me. By the way, it was another 12-hour stay in the airport waiting for a decision. And if I remember rightly, they were really impressed with Terry having brought 3 months worth of medication with her. That was a positive, that they said. But it was literally on that first visit, they were suggesting the reason it was turned down was because of inadequate insurance. But they did let Terry come home with me for 3 days. Then they made a big mistake because they told us to turn up at the airport at a certain time. I can't remember the time, but we turned up at the airport 2 hours before we were meant to, and the flight had already left an hour before. So we got an extra day together that was not planned. And if I said to you that that day was the day that cemented not everything, physically, spiritually, and really confirmed that what we've got and what has lasted ever since. So Terry went back, and she went back. We arrived at the airport in really good time. We were hanging around for ages to make sure that she got on the flight. And seeing what things are, we've had in between times with the lockdowns and this and that and all the other. And then we made arrangements. We know what triggered the second visit. It shouldn't have done, but there was this, shall I say, there was a day where I woke up. I just woke up one morning. I'm sure it was a Sunday, Terry, you know.
Yes.
And I gave Terry a call when it was that time to get up, and I said, are you on your own? And she said, no. I said, well, go in the bathroom and I'll call you back. And she went in the bathroom, and we have never had a conversation about all of this. And I just asked her, I said, would you marry me? And you went quiet for a little bit. And then she said, yes. Why have you changed your mind? And it was a silly, it's not a silly thing. In our minds, it was just a case of showing everybody that we were partners and being able, rather than call ourselves partners, husband and wife. Well, that was a trigger for them, wasn't it? So we went through a situation where Terry applied for a marriage visa. We'd already booked the flight for her to come over in September. And we made provisional plans for a wedding on the 22nd of November. However, the marriage visa never came through. They never said anything about it or anything. And Terry came over on the flight that had been booked, and it was exactly at the time where the Queen's funeral was taking place. So in that September, so there was a huge amount of extra protection in the airport. Terry came over with 3 months' supply of medication. And then we had the same problem again, where she was immediately put in a waiting area, and another 12-hour stay in the airport. And in fact, with this one, it was so good, I got to know on personal terms with Cafe Nero staff, because I was living on coffee when I was there for that 12 hours. So it was all on first name terms. It was quite real. But that particular visit, there was an officer that was dealing with both of us. And he interviewed both of us as well, myself over the phone. And he was really a nice guy, wasn't he, Terry?
He was.
And then after the interview had finished with myself, which came after Terry, and obviously you could see that it's not a scam, you know, all the evidence that he gathered. He said it's not my decision. It's his superior's decision. So we're then in a waiting period for a little while, and whoever his superior was turned down Terry's ability to come. Now, he was a really good guy, because what he said is, he said, I'm really sorry, I'm going to bring Terry down soon, because she can go with you for 3 days again. And he said, let me give you some advice for next time you apply. He said, you're going to have to apply for a visitor's visa because of the stamp in Terry's passport. So he coached both of us in make it a much shorter period, make sure you've got adequate insurance. And on that particular visit, we got double the requirement. I paid extra so that we had double the minimum requirement for medical insurance. And he said, just come as a visitor, make it a much shorter period, make sure you've got the right insurance in place and everything, and you should be okay.
Yeah.
But we had 3 days together again, which was glorious. But there's never been enough time. I mean, on that visit, the second visit, some of my family came over to meet Terry. But there's never been a situation, because they're dispersed, where we could travel around to all the points where the whole family is spread. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that is what it's all about with us. It's not, there's no intention of Terry coming here to stay.
Right.
Because of her personal circumstances, she'll talk about it, and commitments that she has. There's no reason for Terry to come here to stay. All of this was explained. All of this was put into the visa application, fully from my own side and from Terry's side. Now, we've put a positive slant on this, that on that visit, when we first got back home here, Terry had gone into her emails, and she had been waiting for 6 years is it 6 years for a medical hearing?
Actually, it was about 9 years.
9 years. So she's been waiting that long for the medical hearing. And guess what date it was on? The 22nd of November. You couldn't make that up, could you? So in some ways, it was a blessing that they sent Terry home, because we would have had to reschedule her flight and everything ourselves so she could go back for the hearing.
Which I wound up winning.
Yes, she won that hearing, that medical hearing case. Now, it's important to say this. She now has a regular income, although she's not able to work because of the medical condition. She has a regular income that was awarded to her, and a large sum of money, which is being paid in 3 tranches. So that on the last tranche, she will have a 5-figure sum of savings. So the reason I'm saying all this is that when they turned down the visa, there's 3 key points on there. First of all, they obviously had not read fully Terry's visa statement, where all of these things were explained. So the first thing in the first headline, it was a very short letter, wasn't it?
Yes.
It just said, she's unemployed. No, she's not unemployed. She is not able to work because of this medical condition, but is getting an income as a supplement, as the award monthly. And as it goes, the other thing, the thing that really they made an absolute statement in one of the sentences. We do not believe she will go back. That's defamation of character.
That I mean, I can definitely say that, but well, it's just is like so much. But I'm gonna let you stop there, Chris and Terry. You
Pick it
tell
up.
us. Yeah, you tell us. Matter of fact, who you are, number one, where you are, where you live, and your story, what you're going through. Because I mean, the talk of the medication and everything, it's of course not everybody knows. So go ahead and tell us
Right.
what's going on with you.
Well, my name is Terry McKay. Like I said before, I'm a mother of three, single mother of three. Um, my background is nursing, which I graduated from nursing school, nursing of Norfolk General in Virginia Beach. I also studied security, which I have government clearance for security officer at Northrop and Grumman. Um, my medical history, which I'm not afraid to or ashamed of whatsoever, is a disease I have called scleroderma, which attacks the muscle and the skin of internal organs. There is no cure for it. Um, and also, I suffer too also from mental illness. This mental illness came about during my time in struggle with my health and trying to keep a job. Was very, very hurtful to me. I tried to remain strong, but I was also battling cancer at the time. That's another part of my medical history that I face and struggle with. If that isn't enough, I don't know what is. But these are the medical issues that I have. Also, asthma, which I take medication for, which I travel with whenever I go. Um, I believe I followed all the steps that I was told to in order to go visit Chris in the UK. There was always something that slapped me in the face. One was spending a lot of money um, trying to get over there to see Chris, to be told that I cannot enter because of some ridiculous reason. And being held in detainment for 12 hours wasn't pleasant as well. They had my medication luggage locked up in this different department I was in. They managed to offer me something to eat and drink, but I needed my medication. So I had to be, how you say it, those things on your wrist, the plastic things on your wrist. I had to have that being brought into the room with my luggage in order for me to get my medication. And they would clip the band off for me to take my medication, then put me back in detention once I was done.
So what you're saying? Are you saying that they had restraints on you? Like was it restraints? Like handcuff type? The plastic? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the plastic things they had on me at the beginning.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. You could say it again, because when people see this, I want them to understand. You didn't come here, or don't go to England as a criminal. You're not a criminal, but however, they thought that they had to put restraints on you. That doesn't make any sense. It's just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When they put us in the room, there was other people in there as well. There was a couple of Muslims, and they were being questioned by officers. And there was another young lady as myself was in that room. However, Muslims got sent back. I was the only one at the end of the day was in that room for 12 hours still. And they let me talk to Chris. They let me get in touch with him. And they spoke with him. And I'm not sure what they said, but when they took me back in the room to fingerprint me fingerprint me and photocopy me on camera, and I still didn't know what I did wrong for them to do that, because now I'm in the system. So I feel like each time I apply for a visa, they run my passport when they scan it and send it over to the UK. Of course, every time that I applied and came over there, got rejected, pulls up on the camera, pulls up on the screen. This is how I know they did not read my letter thoroughly. They did not read those documents that I gave them thoroughly at all. Because they clearly say in one of the sentences, I'm not sure if you will return back home. I'm not, what is the word they used? Convinced. So instead of going over to see my partner, Chris, who I love truly and dearly, I have to go through this. Instead of just going to visit a partner, your friend, family, whatever, this is what I'm going to have to go through.
How has this affected you? You're already going through this scleroderma? Is that what?
Scleroderma.
Scleroderma.
Mm-hmm.
And the cancer. Like how, I mean, that in itself is tough to deal with, that and the cancer, right? And then you, on top of this, you know, you have your partner, somebody you've been with, no matter how you've been with them, for what you call it 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The system has you marked, because that's what I'm gonna call it. You're marked for whatever reason. Right? Like you're marked for death, like that movie Marked for Death. Like they've marked you for what reason? It doesn't make any sense. But how has this affected you while you're going through your sickness? Like how, because that's stress in itself. You know what I mean? It's
right. It is.
That you're here. It's stress in itself, and then you're putting more stress on your body that doesn't help your situation. So how are you dealing with that?
I'm dealing it honestly through Pascal mental behavior community services, which is where I have a counselor and I have a medication nurse who medicates my medication to me that I need, which is important that I stay on as a schedule that they put me on. I also have the counselor, which I talk to anytime during the day, 7 days a week. And she's not just a counselor. She happens to be a person of Christ who goes to church a lot and prays a lot. And we do a lot of that during my session. And that's what gets me through, to be honest. If I didn't have that medication and counseling, balanced, I don't know. But I really don't know.
Rankin Ann, what you saying? Because this is like, can you hear me, my love?
Yeah, okay. I think a little while to unmute. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry, I'm here listening, and I'm really, I'm just totally floundered at the way you've been treated, because this thing about you being treated like a criminal, because it sounds to me as if they handcuffed you or restrained you. I find this totally just inconceivable they could do this to someone that they know. A, you haven't committed a crime. B, you're an unwell person. it doesn't make any sense to me, and I just think it's just so cruel, how you've been treated, coming to the UK. But it's also really heartbreaking to hear what you've been through with all your medical issues, because as you said, to have one condition is one, but to have at least three juggling, it's just beyond. I don't know how you manage it, but clearly, through all the support, and your inner strength, you do. Um, but I just have to commend you that you've actually seemed to. Well, first of all, you've accessed the help, like you have the nurse and you have the counsellor, um,
Mm-hmm.
because I think we do need to, when we have these things going on in our lives, we do need to access support, especially in the world. There's certain things we can't, juggle on our own. So I commend you for
No.
doing your best to access the support. And I know that, in the country you're in, support doesn't come free, So I really commend you for doing that. Now I know you talked about, this is just a question if you don't mind me asking you. I know you talked about your physical illnesses having an impact on your mental health. Were you struggling with your physical illnesses for a long time before it kind of impacted on your mental health?
Yes. Um, when I was first diagnosed, excuse me for a minute.
Take your time. Take your
That's
time.
Let me
okay.
come
Take your
in for a
time.
minute.
Take your
Let me
Okay.
come in for a minute.
If you want to just take a moment, Terry, that's really fine. And if you don't want to answer, it's really fine. So please just take a moment, or you can leave that one, or let Chris step in, whichever one is easier.
Yeah, no, just to give Terry time to breathe, because I know what she's
Yeah.
feeling.
Um,
We purposely chose the periods that Terry came over. So Terry's allergy is tree pollen. So on the two visits that she came, we made sure that it was from the middle of September onwards, where there wouldn't be a situation that would aggravate that allergy. And on both the occasions she's been here, she's never had to use her pump or anything. So, and has always said that the air in London is so much clearer and cleaner than it is where she's been and living. So just take that as it comes. But so in that regard, we've been really conscious. And I need to say something now from the very beginning, when in that period between the October and July, Terry, we talked about everything. There were no skeletons in the cupboard at
None.
all, as it evolved. And initially, Terry had said to me that she's terminal. And at that time, she said that the outlook is no more than 10 years. Now, if I suggested to you that love is a great healer, because although Terry's still got the condition she's got, there, we've not seen any real deterioration, have we, Diane? In that regard. And that's another thing where you're talking about trauma that is hanging in the background all the time. That having said that, Terry can fill in that the last few medical the Terry will tell you about the last visit she had, where the woman was really surprised and actually spaced out the next time that she wanted to see Terry by quite a large period, wasn't it? So, are you there, Terry?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's that element to it, that if you take the positives of the relationship, that love is a good healer. Music's a healer, love's a healer. And there's some of the passions that we share with each other. And Terry knows that at any moment she can just contact me and it will talk and talk forever. I'm free.
Yes, all day. As well as our music.
Yes, yes. But I've sat beside this, and we don't really talk about it in any depth because we know what the seriousness of the situation is, and there's no point in keep talking about it over and over. But it's these visits and the subconscious trauma, because she's expecting next time she comes she's going to be locked up for 12 hours again while they go through it all. And do you know what I'm saying? That there's never going to be a passage where she can just come through and everything's fine. You know, they're not giving her the chance to prove that she's not here to stay. She doesn't want the treatment she needs in America, not here. So there's not going to be a situation of being put on the national health getting involved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
it makes a lot of sense, but I don't even know why they would think. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you know, I mean, we've got listeners listening in. People be sitting there sometimes, probably saying, "Oh, well, why don't you just give up?" Well, we're not giving up. We will be together for as long as it. This is the perfect relationship for me. It would be even more perfect if Terry was here for those occasions. But we're going to circumnavigate that because we've got to allow time for it, for some issues on my side. But I'm going to fly over there before we make a next application. I want to see the Bronx. I want to see those parts of New York that Terry's been involved with. I want to meet the family over there too, you know, and it'll be an opportunity to take. Terry will know that the two of us will be together, and as soon as I'm clear to go, I'll book the flight and go, you know. So all she's got to do is organise all that end of it when at her end. We're talking about music. Let's lighten up a bit. We're talking about music, weren't we? It's funny, really, because just the other day we shared a song, not one of our songs, but it's the Tamlins and oh God, see, my brain's gone now. What's the name of the song? It's the airport. What's the airport? Terry, it's just gone completely out of my. You know that.
We were talking about it earlier.
Baltimore, because that's the airport. It's
yes, Baltimore.
It's 10 minutes away from Terry. So I want to go and see Baltimore. I've loved the bloody song since Sly and Robbie did it all those many years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Tamlins.
Yeah, the Tamlins. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask you to sing a piece.
No, he wasn't, because he told us he can't sing, and then nobody
will listen. This man, last time we were doing co-hosting, started to get me to do some jingles for him that he then blasted all over the radio. He said, "Do it in your deep voice. Move over, Barry White." You know,
that's right.
So I had to get my voice right down low and do these jingles for General. But I'm just trying to put a little lightness around this because it's a serious subject. It's a serious subject.
It is. It's definitely.
It has a knock-on effect, and I won't profess to have the same stress that Terry has over it. It's, from my point of view, it's just absolute disappointment all the time. But I will say that the days that we have spent together have been off the wall.
Yeah.
You know, they have been off the wall, and really, we look at time and we talk about time, and the 14th of July in 2014 was yesterday. It was just.
Terry, can I just jump? Sorry, Chris, can I just jump in there because both of you have referred to the love you have for each other. But me being nosy, I want to go back to where it started, and I can ask you, Terry.
Oh, okay.
Fell in love, and tell me what it is about Christopher Hills that made you fall in love with him. Tell me that bit there.
Okay. I was searching on Facebook for a girlfriend of mine's, and I was coming across different um different people's names and stuff like that, looking for hers. And I came across this dark image of a man. I knew it was a man with a hat on, but you could not tell his race, his color, or anything. So I said to myself, okay, knowing me, this is how I am. Oh, I got to know who this is. I got to know who this person is, but I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to jump. I'm just going to say good morning. And that's what I did. I friend him. He accept. And from then on, it was like, good morning. How are you? How you doing? Chris was at the time was doing some promotion, I think, and he was having different meetings. So he was like, when I come back from my meeting, I'll give you a shout out. I was like, okay, and he did, and it started from that.
Terry's talking that trouble. All right then.
And the next part now, Terry, I want to see a bit
The
of
next part
is
was to get him to drop that photo and put up a real photo of himself. So we kept talking. And we kept talking. We was Skyping. That's how long ago it was. We was Skyping each other because where I used to live at was across the street from a horse stable, and Chris loved horses.
Okay.
So we would Skype, and I would take pictures and show them to him. And after we Skyped, he surprised me one day and took down the photo and put up one of himself.
Whoop whoop! Wow!
And I was like, "Oh, this is really cool. He is so handsome."
Yeah.
And after that, we've been talking and talking and talking, sharing pictures. He introduced me to his mom through Skype, right, babe? I think it was Skype, right? Still at the time. So I met his mother, and gradually I met other family members that I'm close to now on Instagram and Facebook. And also my kids are friends of Chris. So we are just like one big happy family.
We're family.
Happy family.
Yeah, and nothing's going to interrupt us. Nothing can. This is indestructible. The stuff we've been through. But we know that we've both found what we may have searched for in the past, or maybe had little teasers of it in the past. And it's all come together in this. And it's not just a physical situation. It's more. It has to be more spiritual than physical because of the distance between us and everything else. And
yes,
we think each other's thoughts. We feel each other's aches and pains. It's amazing. It's on a much higher level than I've ever experienced in my life. I don't think of anybody else. Terry knows that I've got a lot of female friends and acquaintances, but she's more than satisfied that there's nothing ever going to go on with any of those people I've known for ages, years and years and years. It's just, I can't explain. You can't explain it. Songs explain it.
Yeah.
because it's what people search for in love songs. But it's real. This is real. This is like, holy crap! It's actually real.
You know what? You know what? What I'm seeing and picking up, Chris, is that what the two of you have is a real connection, and connection isn't just about being in the physical space. You can live with somebody and there's no connection, but what the two of you demonstrates that you have a real, true connection. The fact that you, as you said, you feel what's going on for each other. You have these conversations that goes on for hours and gone on for years, and that takes a lot. 'Cause, I mean, as I said, you can live with someone in the same house and there's no conversation. Yet, you've got all these miles between you and have that consistency. And it just kind of hit me that they talk about the happy chemicals, and they've got one, oxytocin is the one that they call the in love chemical, isn't it? The one that makes you feel as if you're in love. And I think that connection that you have, and the affection and connection are the two things that kind of spark these chemicals to go off in our brains. And it feels to me that's what the two of you have created between you, this real connection, this real affection, and it's, as you said, it's real. It doesn't matter about the actual physical distance. What you have is real, and that is partly what keeps. I'm just judging that's what keeps you both going through all the trauma and the history you've been through. That kind of love, happiness, that the drug, then the chemical, is what keeps you hopeful and keeps you going, and I think we cannot underestimate, the power of oxytocin, which is what you two have, created between you in droves, so yeah, connection is really crucial, really key. And I'm just listening to the two of you, even I'm still waiting to hear what it is about this man that you fell in love with, Terry, and Chris, what it is about this woman that made you fall in love. I'm still waiting to hear those words, but we can see, and from what you've actually said, that the connection is real, and that is what counts. That is what really counts.
Can I suggest to you that we talk about let's forget the trauma for a moment and let's forget the distance. So there might be occasions where Terry will contact me and we'll start speaking over FaceTime now. And she'll say, put some music on. And we won't even have a conversation. We'll be playing music through my system for 2 hours, listening to music together, like we were in the front room and stuff like that. It's that sort of level of the way that things work. And I'm going to be frank about it. And this may... I mean, I'm in touch with my other what do you call it? My emotional side. I've never felt like this about somebody, and every day I still get bubbles in my tummy when we talk.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And that I remember that when I was 16, and to have it at this time in life, really pretty incredible, And I think it's really important that period where we weren't actually together, that was a period where every single skeleton in our cupboards came out on both sides. Terry's the only person that fully knows all of my background and all of the things that I wouldn't dare to tell other people, particularly when I was a youngster with my mum and dad, and there's so much parallel as well. Terry's been born and raised in the Bronx. You tell me the Bronx is not Peckham. Because that's where I was born and raised, so we've got that same background experience, even though it's a long space of time in between.
Sorry, Chris. I'm just gonna cut in there. I used to go to school in Peckham.
Did you? Listen, I went to school in Kennington. You'll laugh at this. Look,
I used to live in
I,
Kennington, Chris.
did you? Well, look, this is what happened. My dad was really strong. I was in primary school. I was at the top of everything, and I was slated for Wilson's Grammar School. Yeah. My dad wouldn't let me go, and he said, "No, we're going to go." And he went all the way to Kennington, Black Prince Road, and the Beaufoy, the Borough Beaufoy, to get me in a technical school where I could get a trade. And I'm glad he did. I am really glad he did, because frankly, Wilson's Grammar School and university is just not me. End of. But yeah, so with Peckham is definitely the Bronx.
The Bronx, yep.
It's a lot posher now. It's a lot posher now. You can't afford to buy a bloody house there.
Yeah.
But it was a good upbringing, and Terry's had a similar upbringing. But she's got a fascinating background and career. Let her talk about that.
Oh my gosh!
Don't be embarrassed.
But living in the Bronx and Manhattan, you can run across any kind of star that you can think of.
I could attest to that.
Well, I was walking up the block one day in Manhattan and ran across Chaka Khan. Yes, she came out the store with her children. She stopped me on the street to ask me where did I get my outfit from that I was wearing, which was a two-piece white t-shirt type of outfit with fringes at the bottom of it, cutouts. And she was going to perform in the next couple of days, and she wanted that outfit. Of course, I couldn't give it to her. I was wearing it. But she wanted to know who my designer was. And at that time, I was modeling. I was doing a little modeling. And of course, that didn't last too long due to the fact there's too much prejudice in modeling. You have to be so high and this skinny, and I was all the opposite. I was 5'7" with hips and a backside, and they wasn't having it.
It's important to mention. I'm going to interrupt because that meeting with Chaka Khan and Terry's talking about the concert was the first concert she did without Rufus, and I think it was at the and it was a breakthrough concert being independent. It was, where was it at? It was in
it was somewhere. It was in the club in Manhattan. I don't remember the club. But it was a club in Manhattan.
It was just literally amazing that that occurred, and it was the first situation of Chaka Khan being without Rufus and being recognised and for her own talent.
Yeah.
But sorry, that's just, you see, when I talk to you about we know everything about each other, and there's some things we won't talk about on here.
That was just one star. My main star that I remember, will never forget, because I used to cry during his boxing matches, was Muhammad Ali. I met him. He used to come to Harlem. One of his favorite restaurants was Shirley's, and she was his chef at the time. And the person I knew used to be his bodyguard. So he said, "Terry, I know the next place he's going. Let's go there." Well, it was a Muslim restaurant. And I waited for him, and I was not leaving until he got there. And when he came through the door, this tall man, handsome man, is bigger than you realize him on TV. He's much bigger than that and taller. And he said, he came over to the guy who I was with, and he asked him something, and he looked at me, and he says, "You pretty enough to be my daughter." And he grabbed me, and I have a picture of it that I gave to Chris of him grabbing me, and all you see is my head because he grabbed so much of me, you couldn't see that much of me. just the top of my head.
Wow.
And he gave me 4 other pictures of him that he autographed. And at the end of the day, he was leaving, and I was like, I want to go. I said, I want to go with you. And he says, you can't go with me. You're too young. He says, how old are you? I said, 17. I just turned 17. And meanwhile, there was these women at the bar that was all dressed up in all this glamour stuff. And they were going out with him. And I said, no, I want to go. He says, no, you can't go. He said, this is something that will last you a lifetime when I'm giving you. This over here is going to last nothing but a minute. And he gave me, I believe, was it 3 or 4 pictures of himself?
4, wasn't it?
Mm.
4 pictures of himself. One of him lying in bed watching one of his fights. Another one is him getting his hair cut. And the other one is of me and him. And I forgot what the 4th one was.
There's a couple of
he
you
gave
and
me
him
those
together.
pictures for life.
Mm.
That's real deep, though. You see what he said, though?
Yeah,
Even back then, he was full of lyrics, but that was so deep. Look at it, you could talk about it now. You maybe, look, those pictures are probably worth money too, you know. Amazing.
Amazing. It is amazing. And, you know, we're talking about mental duress here for the public that are listening in. And I want to come back to music, because that has been a massive thing between Terry and I. So there's been certain songs at certain periods of our relationship that directly, lyrically relate to us. I'll let Terry talk about those ones, but the ones that are more important is during that period between October and July.
Yeah.
Terry, General knows this. Terry has a thing about Keisha Cole, too. And very subtly, you know, she'd say, "I'll put this on," and she would sing along to Heaven Sent and Trust. They're the 2 key songs.
Yes.
Me being, oh, they're good songs. Then all of a sudden you start listening to the lyrics, and that's Terry very subtly telling me that I'm going to be safe with her. She's not going to hurt me. Do you know what I'm saying? And I got to understand the depths of those lyrics and how important those 2 songs are. And General, we played them enough times on the radio, didn't we? And there are key songs that the lyrics come into effect stage by stage as the relationship has grown. And it's been an eye-opener for me, because although my music tastes are very broad, I've only had a cursory interest in hip-hop. But Terry's younger sister is major when it comes to hip-hop, 50 years on from its birth in the Bronx.
Oh, yeah, we just had 50 years of hip-hop.
Yeah.
And her sister was working with Grandmaster Flash and then Run DMC, traveled the world with them. And that was me getting past that sort of, no, I'm not interested in hip-hop. Let me have a listen. And rediscovering it in a background of a genre that I really didn't have a lot of interest in. And I think that, again, we share a love of reggae, and we share a love of soul R&B. But there's been Terry's book could talk about how her music has been tested and broadened.
Oh, yeah, through Talk.
In love with Mark Hollis.
I want to ask a question. I want to go back to the incident at the airport and stuff like that. Did any one of you contact any from anybody from their travel agents, talk to them about the situation?
No, I didn't have a traveling agent.
But you buy a ticket, don't you?
Yeah, no, we bought the tickets for the
Yeah.
flight well in advance.
Did anybody confront them and tell them the situation of what
No,
went
no,
took
no.
place?
As soon as you land, they throw you off the plane with your luggage, and that's the end of it, as far as they're concerned. They
There
don't have
must
any
be.
interest in that.
I think there must be someone you can contact in that regards.
Well, look, Sharon, I know where I'm going to go next, and it's my MP. It was
Did you
suggested
do that?
some, huh?
Did you do that?
No, we're waiting for this broadcast because I'm going to use this broadcast to pass on to her so that it saves me having to write out reams and reams of the situation. And also to show that we're very public about the relationship that we've got. But coming back to what you were saying, someone else had mentioned, well, why don't I get an immigration lawyer? Well, Terry's not, it's not about immigration, it's just about visiting. You get an
Exactly.
immigration lawyer if you want to bring someone permanently to this country. She's not coming
Exactly.
permanently.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
in fact,
agree.
if we did, it would make it even harder for them to understand that she's not coming here to stay. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
I agree because as we mentioned before, I United States and England, I think they have a connection where you should be able to travel without a visa. You
That's
should be
true.
able
No, that's true from America to Britain. You come from America to Britain, you do not need any kind of
visa.
visa or anything. It's not the same going to America from Britain.
Yeah, but she was coming from America.
That's right. That's right.
You
I
know,
was
she's
even
coming.
told at the visa office that I didn't need a visa, and I told the lady that I do need a visa. Over in UK, told me don't come back without a visa. You have to have a visa, and she couldn't believe it herself.
That's what makes it so the whole thing so strange because you don't from America you don't need a visa. Not that I know of, you know, and going through all that problem.
Well, look, Sharon, I'll be honest. I remember the first two visits that Terry came for. They were going to be over 3 months that she was going to be here. We took their advice from that second visit and the officer. So, what we in the visa application, the length of stay would be between 4 and 6 weeks, not 3 months. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
we even abided by their guidance in that regard
their
for the visa.
guidelines. Yeah.
So we followed everything that they told us to do.
Yep, I did.
And we come back to that whole scenario. You know, when you make a statement, she's unemployed, that's the wrong statement to make. If they'd have read the visa application, Terry is unable to be employed
To work.
now. But she has an income, regular income, equivalent to working.
Or pay, yeah.
And although, I mean, that money that she does get, she lives with her son, so she's got no housing costs. And she
Yeah,
cares for the grandchildren while they go to
even
work.
that shouldn't be a problem to them. She's here to for a certain amount of time.
That's right.
That
That's right.
that is said. They have to go with the time that she's gonna be in the UK. That simply mean her ticket is back and forth.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right.
she has
Every
a
time
right.
it's been a
That,
return ticket.
that is where I don't understand the confusion.
Right. She has
A
her
back and
return
forth
flight.
ticket.
He
Yeah.
has a return flight. Here's
You
where
have a return flight. Once you have a return flight, there shouldn't be a problem.
right, but even mentioning that she's not working makes no sense. Why are you asking that if she works? How many people fly? They don't have no damn jobs.
Yeah.
Whoever paid for their ticket, their ass has
She's
got to
not
live.
coming to work. She's coming to visit.
It doesn't make
She's
any
coming to
sense.
visit.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
just she's been targeted for whatever reason.
it is something that
It's a target.
I try to wrap my head around it. I try to think. At one point, I was thinking, oh, maybe Terry doesn't have an American visa passport. But then again, if she was born in the Bronx, she
Yeah,
has an
she's in
American
a box.
passport.
Right,
That means she
right.
shouldn't have a problem.
You should have no
She
issues.
shouldn't have a problem.
No issues. I
No
came
issue
here.
because
I had my green card. Right when I came here with my parents, I was given a green card and it had my thumbprint on there. Yeah. Now that's supposed to last me forever.
Mm-hmm.
When things were going on here, Trump was in office. People were being flung back home. I said, "What the hell am I gonna do?" Not to say anybody bothered me, but not to say I was having any issues. But me and my sister were like, "Listen, I don't know if they're gonna come for us for whatever reason. We may be targets." I ran, put in my application for citizenship because I was like, I don't want no drama. I made sure, and I have my American passport and I have my British passport. You know what I'm saying? Because once you have your American passport and you travel, you have no issues.
Exactly.
Point being, she's
Exactly.
never supposed to have an issue. She's supposed to
Exactly. She
have
shouldn't have.
not
She
one
shouldn't have.
issue.
That's exactly what I'm saying. With an American passport, you shouldn't have an issue. I can
Right.
understand with some African countries, yes, or West Indian countries, yes, but I cannot understand
Not
with American
yeah, and that being said,
Or Canadian.
let me even add to that. Again, a lot of things was going on. You know, people being sent back to their country, but something happened to me twice when I traveled with my green card and my passport, right? Went to Mexico for a wedding. When I came, I didn't have any problem going, but when I came back to the US, I was detained.
Yeah,
I was
because you
detained.
have both of them.
I
Because you
had
have both.
a British passport and I had my green card, right?
Exactly.
I was detained twice, so my husband's out there freaking out, like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna let him know. I'm like, why don't you sit your ass down because they're gonna come for you too, right?
Yeah, because they think
but
they think you collect something over there.
Right. I was detained twice, and that pushed me like I will never go through this again because I was brought into this thing. There wasn't even a whole bunch of people in there, but they had me sitting in there like a very uneasy. So I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God."
That's how I felt.
Yes, I know how you feel. That's why I wanted to even do this story because I was like, I've been detained twice, not as long as you, because I promise you, my husband and whatever army he was going to bring, it was going to be hellfire up in that airport because I've been there for too long. But I was detained. I had no problem leaving, but when I came back in, and I said, no, that's it. So when I did my citizenship, and usually once you put into your citizenship, it takes a bloody long time. But I had to study the history, certain histories and everything, and be able to answer certain questions when I got called up. I put in my citizenship, that was the April of that year. By November, I was a citizen, and it usually takes years. I don't know how. Me and my sister, we got the same day and put in our applications different times because we was like, we don't want no drama. So I get it, but I just don't understand. I mean, of course, I travel freely with my passport if necessary or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I don't have no issues. I came to England with my American passport. I had my British one. No issues. I showed the American one. No issues. They were being targeted for a reason.
You would have a problem, Sharon. You would have a problem if you had both.
What
if you had both on you would have a problem.
No, but I did. No, I did. and I presented, they just took the American one. I had both of them. I had no issues because my passport was up to date. I didn't have no problems.
Because I know of a fact that once you have your pay right document, that you're supposed to be traveling with the most essential piece, which is either if your passport is the central piece, then you travel with it. If it's your green card, you can travel on it too. Not both of them at once. That I'm sure. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
No,
that's why you had the problem coming back from there.
From
From
Mexico, yeah.
Mexico, yeah.
Twice. I was detained twice. I said, I never want to see this room again. Because they come, and by the time they get to you, they're looking at your paperwork. Yeah, why did it take so long to your citizenship? I guess one day I'll do it. I've had it a long time. My fingerprint is on there. What's the problem? Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. And I let you go.
but for Terry, I think something is wrong. Is either they target you. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make no sense whatsoever. You have a return flight. You have your medication that you have to be taken. That's I mean, you have to go home because when they're
Yes,
finished, you need more.
that's right.
Exactly.
So you were a red flag for them. I don't know.
I'm just going to say two things come to mind. Listening to what's been said, two things come to mind. I think the elephant in the room, which we can't really not mention, is that we know with UK borders there is always racism. We have to look at it and be real about it. And I think the other thing about UK, they're very arrogant and they think that every person,
Yes.
black or brown person coming through, is coming to use the NHS. Even though you have all your insurance and all your things in your own country, they have the arrogance to think that, everyone's to come here and just be a health, what they call it, a
I love
health tourist.
this.
And they have this arrogance. And I'm sorry to say that I think, maybe Terry, you got caught up in that kind of,
bureaucratic crap.
Bureaucratic dialogue. And I'm saying because listening to what's happened to you, I can only think that's the only thing that's in their heads, in their reckoning. Here's this woman, she's got all these health issues. She's coming to our country to access, her health, needs. And I think that's, to me, that's the only thing I can think of that could be in their heads that could make them treat you the way they treated you. And then on top of that, being a black person, that, of course, yes, of course you're going to want to come and because you probably can't afford your own, insurance for your health. So yes, you're going to come to our country. And this is the arrogance that goes on in the UK. And it happens to when people come from Jamaica, come from Africa, whether it's health or no health, they have this thing about, you want to come and stay in our country. Even though you've got your own career in your country, your own family in your own country, yet they think you want to come and be in this wonderful UK. And that's the arrogance. And the UK border force, unfortunately, embodies that arrogance and racism. And listening to what you've been through, I can only put it down to those two factors. The thing of they think you want to be in this country and you want to access their health service because there's nothing else under the sun that makes sense why they would treat you the way they treated you.
Right.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, Christopher said he went out and get extra insurance.
Makes no difference.
We got double the minimum requirement.
Exactly.
When it comes to racism, doesn't matter what you've got. Doesn't matter what you could have. You could be a millionaire. They still think you want to access this great British, service that they're offering you. I'm sorry. This is their arrogance. My arrogance. They are arrogant.
Yeah, but there's a stamp in her passport that says she have a return or a ticket that says she have a return flight. You cannot go past that.
The fact of the fact of the matter,
You
the
cannot
fact
go past this return flight.
the fact of the matter, right, is that everyone seems to be forgetting, right, that these systems out there that have something called profiling. They don't have to have a reason. Once they suspect you
Yeah.
of whatever it is, right? There's something called profiling. And every time you go through any airport, they can just pick you out from a crowd and just say, for instance, they could suspect you of whatever. They don't have to have a reason. And it can be, put on your record. So every time you go through the airport, you just seem to realize every time I'm in the queue, they keep picking me out. Why is that? And it's called profiling. Read up about it. I went for it quite a few times. Every time I go through Miami Airport, I go through hell, exactly what Terry went through. As a matter of fact, I had a car waiting out there for me. They had me in the airport for close to about an hour and a few minutes. Right, had me sitting down up to about 50 odd minutes of sitting down there, with every other race but white people in there, right? And then I'm sitting down, waiting up until I make noise and say, "What's going on there? You have me sitting down there, waiting for what?" And they say, just be patient. They weren't doing anything up until I started making more noise. They gave me back my passport and said I can leave. Why did you hold me in the first place? They have no reason. So I stopped passing through, what do you call it? I stopped going to Miami and I started going to either Orlando or Fort Lauderdale. And ever since I ever go through Fort Lauderdale or Orlando, I've never experienced any problems. So I just take it as, the system puts, you through some sort of profiling, which is unnecessary, right? Because if they had done their homework properly, they would have seen that you're not a threat to the system, right? But he obviously didn't do that. And if you don't fight it, they get away with murder. So I think if you get on their case, they will realize at some point that they've made a mistake with your situation. Because I remember when Terry tried to come over at one point, they had said to you that you needed to just do one thing and it would be resolved. That's what you told me, Chris. Right? Can you hear me?
You're muted, Chris.
Muted.
Yeah, what, the last visit, or you're
Yeah,
talking about?
the last time, I think it was the last time Terry was trying to come through, because I think at some point they reject, either she was here for 3 days or they had rejected her. It was either or either. I can't remember.
She rejected her, but they put her in my care for 3 days.
Right,
So
but they had said to you, you needed to
send
do
her back
something.
immediately and put her in a hotel overnight. They allowed her to come with me for 3 days, and we went back to the airport in good time, 2 hours too early. We were hanging around the airport just to make sure that there was no problems with the flight.
Did they at any time suggest to you that you needed a bit of documentation which would...
No.
They didn't. Okay.
No, when she first entered, we suspect it may have been because we had applied for a marriage visa.
Okay.
That hadn't come through at the time, so it was null and void anyway in that regard. They hadn't rejected it, it just hadn't been processed. We cancelled it.
Right.
We cancelled it after that visit.
Okay.
So that never went through. But you see, we've got to learn that that's the way their minds work. If we got married, it's still exactly the same scenario we've got now. Terry's not coming here to live. She's not coming here to use the National Health Service. We made sure with the insurance cover that we got, even if a scenario arose, with the amount of insurance cover we had, they could have put her on a flight immediately back to America and bypassed the National Health Service. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of level of insurance that we took out. There was no argument about it. We did exactly everything that they said and doubled over it.
Right.
And I understand. I do understand the whole scenario. I mean, I've got two daughters that work for the Home Office, and one has worked there forever. And my brother worked for the Home Office, and my sister-in-law worked for MI6. So I know all of the scenarios that they're awake to. I know, Sharon, about there's four countries that are particularly, every application that is made, there's an automatic turn down. It's Jamaica, Trinidad, I can't remember the African states.
Nigeria.
Yeah, where the first application immediately rejected. And the mentality behind it is, well, if it's serious, you'll appeal it. And you'll pay the extra money for the appeal. That's the mentality. There's an automatic, you're not coming. And I know all of this, and when we made that application and I had done the invite for Terry to come for the visa application, I made it clear that I've got two daughters that work for the Home Office. If you want to check on my background, and remember that because they work there, I am constantly reviewed by the Home Office.
Right.
Always, because they work there. They do it annually, don't they? Where they continually check with your closest relatives to see if anyone's
They
turned down.
check. I have a family member in government, and they check everything. All your family's background. They're going to go all Interpol. She's in one place.
Yeah.
Interpol is heavily involved. It's no joke. They go through and it's a regular check, like you said.
That's right.
I know that for facts.
So they've got that evidence from my angle,
right?
Constantly,
right?
At the touch of a hand. So why would you suggest? And even if you think about the wording that was used, we don't believe she'll return. That's defamation of character.
Yeah, that is.
That's absolute defamation of character. Not just Terry's, but mine as well.
I mean, sorry, I got sorry, just cutting there. I just sort of agree with Rankin and what she said about the arrogance of this UK. Terry and Chris, I'm just sorry that you guys are going through this crap. I mean, it's you're here for a visit. That's what you're here for. You don't want nothing from the country, right? But yet you have to go through this. Many years ago, this happened to my mum had passed, and I was trying to get my brother from Jamaica to come over, and I tell you the hoops I had to go through to just to get him over here. My mum's already passed, and I had to get him over before the funeral, and it was just, I tell you what, I don't know, I don't really even know how I got through it. Just to get him here, because the same thing. They think that he's going to come over here, he's going to abscond, and he's going to do this. You know what I mean? He's a Jamaican, he's going to be a drug man. All those sort of things.
Discrimination.
Yeah, it was really, really painful. So, to the experience that you guys are going through, Terry, with your illness, and Chris, obviously you're part of Terry's life. It's just, I'm just glad you guys have got each other, because with the mental health issue, this could have put you guys over the edge. It's difficult at the best of times. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a drama. But what you guys have talked about, even the good times about listening to music, just talking to each other. Christopher Hills, you're a bit of a player again, eh? With that picture, that dark picture.
Yep.
That was me hiding on Facebook.
Oh, Terry was going for that. She fell for that one, isn't it? But no, but seriously, I'm joking. But seriously, I'm glad that you two have found each other, because you know, you guys. I mean, you guys look like you gel together, and with all this BS that you're going through at the moment, and hopefully, Chris, that you know the MP would try and do something. So at least
I
Terry
hope
can come
so.
into the country and have no drama, because obviously she's not here. She's here for a visit to
But
visit you.
remember something as well, Maestro, that in both of these visits, they've had my address and all of
Exactly.
that information. So if they wanted to come and check,
And I'm with you on that, because I had the same thing. You know, they wanted to know where my brother was going to be, and I gave them the address, and it was, you know. So I hear what you're saying. Yeah, they can come and check at you to your address at any time of the day, 24 hours a day, to see, you know, see if Terry's still there. It's just, you know, I just what it is selective with these government people, and for selective hearing and selective reading. They
Yeah.
don't.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? They're not looking at
Mhm.
why, you know, they're not looking at, you know, Terry's medication and so on. That's
They
it. It's
don't
all
care. Yeah,
selective.
it is selective, but
Yeah.
it's a very simple thing. Just a matter of somebody just saying, "All right, take her off of this. Then just check her off. She's no threat." You know what I mean? Like Ten Star said, it is a profiling thing, and once they've targeted you, anywhere you go, they know where you are, just in case you are that who they think you are. You know what I'm saying? She's coming with these medications. Oh, so is she going to take some more medications? Like, what's going on here? It's so many things, but there is nothing in her character or her background that suggests that she's coming for something from there. She's trying to get involved with the drugs. There is nothing that suggests that she's just, there's no red flag. I was
no,
thinking,
Sharon, really important, not just the business of being a fully qualified nurse, but to be a government security agent. Can you
right,
imagine what
with
she has
government
to be able to
clearance,
go through for that?
with government clearance. So I don't know if they've checked that too. Oh, was she really coming here for? You never know. I don't know, but it still doesn't add up.
Well,
Something's
look, you've
off.
got a family situation where she had three sisters and her mum that have world travelled around the world and have been to Britain on many occasions. Terry's the only one of the family, that immediate family, that hadn't left America until the first visit to come to myself. Whereas the rest of the family have been going backwards and forwards and chatting about how great this place is and that place, you know, Paris. We keep adding, we're adding little places,
Mhm.
you know. But
Something's off.
it's just crazy. I can't listen. I love Terry, and I can say it openly. I've never loved anyone like I love her. She's part of me. She's my other half in real terms. You know what? We breathe together, we ache together, we sleep together, believe it or not, even if it is the time difference. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
That's how close it is. It's on that level that's so much higher than just a physical relationship, you know. And I can't think of my life without her. And I mean that in not in the just normal flowery romantic. She's such a part of me that that's why there's no time constraints over this. 9 years. Yesterday it was yesterday.
Mhm.
Literally, it was yesterday, not 9 years ago. And you know, there's times I go through the day and I think, oh gosh, I just want to talk with Terry. And I'll ring her and I'll say, oh, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. And she'll say, put some music on. And then we'll just start and things like that. But it's that kind of and it's very difficult for other people from the outside to see just how close that really truly is. I've never experienced it before.
Neither
I've
have
had
I.
little test cases of it that have left you thinking that you want more. But this is the whole package. End of, you know.
So how do you like when you don't, like, for instance, I know, the trauma of, you two not being together, plays on you. I know you have each other. I'm pretty sure for Terry, the love that you have for each other, it's extended your life times 20, right?
Yes.
And that's how I kind of see it. On the other hand, it seems to me you have like a counteraction flow going on. Even though you have each other, you still have the trauma and the yearning of wanting to be together, you know.
Right.
Even coming on a platform like this, initially, what was going through your mind, sharing your story, and coming this far on the show, what did that, what does that do for your psyche, Terry? First and foremost.
Well, it does a lot. Um, just being able to help someone else, in my predicament.
Mm. Do you feel like you have to be strong for Chris?
All the time, yes. We strong for each other.
Do you go to your own moment of weakness?
To be honest, no. I talk
Okay.
I talk to Chris about anything and everything.
Okay.
And at
Chris.
any time.
Mm.
Yeah, at any time.
And how
Yeah.
do you deal with that, Chris? Coming on this show and telling your story, what does that do for you?
Well, you know me very well, General, so you know I'm not a person that gives up too much information about myself to others. It's
Very
all in
true.
little bits and pieces. If they all
Hmm.
came together,
Yeah.
I don't know what my exes talk about when they come together, but
Mm.
we all get on fine. Um, I'm Well, look, it's my background. My background, you guys know about to some degree, but I've been raised in that background of a need to know basis.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what comes with gypsy and gangster heritage. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You only let people
Peaky Blinders, sorry.
you only let people know what they need to know.
Exactly.
And there's a
Yeah.
lovely story to that because the last job I was employed in,
Mm.
one of my senior directors left the company before we were all made redundant. And he
Mm.
sat in my office, and I'd worked with him for 10 years. And I suggested to you that he was the equivalent of Tony Blair. You might
Mm.
understand what kind of person. Um, but he said, I know you. And I said, you know nothing about me. You only know what I allow you to know. Oh, you always give 100%. I said, no, you've only ever given you 60% because that's all you pay me for.
Yeah.
And it was that really weird conversation. And then he made some comment about my team. Well, I've never had a problem with anybody that's worked with me, and they're still all in touch with me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he said, you're Hitler. And I said,
Mm.
well, none of your staff ever go sick. Well, no, they don't go sick because I introduced a bonus system,
Mm.
and that was part of it. And they're the highest paid of their type in the business because of that. And it was those kind of after working with him for 10 years.
Yeah.
And in the end, I got so pissed off with it. Sorry. And I
Mm.
just said, do you know that you've had a gypsy work for you for the last 10 years? And the
Mm.
blood drained out of his face, literally in front of me. He went from pink to white
Mm.
and had nothing more to say after that,
Mm.
by the way.
Mm.
Nothing more to say.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know where we've gone with that, but it's just to change the there's
Yeah.
all these things that, Terry and I we're just there for each other. And there won't ever be anyone else that will ever be a replacement for her, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In
Well,
music general, you know that if you go back in time when we did those radio broadcasts, Terry was working with me on the playlists that I was involved with, always. And she was always in the bloody shout box as well, wasn't she?
yeah. Especially when we entered into the vault, right?
Yeah, the vault.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that, Terry?
Yes, I do.
Oh God, me and Chris was a head case.
Yeah, it was cool. It was
nice,
the
though.
greatest time ever.
I enjoyed it.
But
So,
you know what? I don't know how to. I mean, this is a serious subject, and there's things that we need to do going forward that we will do. You know, I'm hoping that by having this broadcast as evidence, that my MP will support our situation. You know, she will have had a chance to see Terry and make her own assessment from this broadcast.
Yeah.
Which is a bit different from just on a bit of paper, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it progresses. We've got plans. I say once certain things with myself are over, I'm going to fly over there.
Yeah, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Oh yeah, and we've talked and joked and laughed about it, but there's another situation that we could always resort to, because there's two airlines that fly from Baltimore. One of them is British Airways, but there's another airline that I think it's Irish Air or something, where it's a longer flight from Heathrow because they stop over in Dublin for an hour. Well, we could meet up and spend time in Dublin. Do you see what I'm saying? There's all these other scenarios that could come into play.
Yeah.
As we move forward, you know. I mean, I'd love for Terry to come to Jamaica with me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the way it is in Jamaica now and with their own health system that it's a good idea. There may be a different Caribbean island like Grenada or somewhere where it's a better bet. But we've always got to be cautious of that as well.
Right.
So with Terry's allergies, that's why we particularly choose from September.
Yeah.
Because that's the end of the tree pollen season. She's never used her pump when she's been over here.
Never. No.
Awesome.
And she's had fish and chips as well. Real fish and chips.
Oh, yes. That's a given. That's a given.
The trouble is the guy that is gone now, he's closed down.
Okay.
Terry, fish and chips.
Yes.
Real fish and chips.
Well, let me
listen. We've got to lighten this up a bit. So the last visit, in those 3 days, after we settled down on the first evening, I said to Terry the next day, "Do you want to go somewhere?" She said, "Can we go to Wood Green?" Now, it's like, oh, what, Wood Green? Okay, fine. Because she's been there before. She wanted to go to the market and buy some food to cook.
Okay.
Oh.
How did Terry hear about Wood Green, for crying out loud?
That's what I want to know. Like, what you know about Wood Green?
She knows every bloody tube stop on from Heathrow to Finsbury Park where we are.
Okay.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But look at that. You know, even if that's what I'm saying is, anyone else would be, oh, can we go to Buckingham Palace or somewhere like that? Terry, can we go Wood Green? I want to go to the market. You know, which is like local. It's her just fitting in with the locality. Do you know what I'm saying? But I have got a palm tree outside of my balcony window. So
Okay.
it's a bit like being in the Caribbean all year round. So
Right.
it's cool. I'd love to go to Jamaica with Terry, with the people I know and the places I know.
Mm.
But I don't feel that it's not particularly safe for anyone outside of the resorts anyway now. I can't do what I used to do.
Listen, yeah, but listen, I'm telling you this, it's not just the resorts anymore. When I go, I'm going to an Airbnb and live like the damn locals. That's what you do.
That's what I
know,
always do.
it's I was there recently. That's what you do. My daughter just came back. Just go there. You can go places. You can walk around, go to the markets. I think that the two of you should go. I think the
No,
experience
that's
would
right.
be
And
great.
I was going so regularly. I was always Hibiscus Lodge or Crane Ridge that I went to. They all knew me. I got local rates. I never paid tourist rates for anything. That I mean, particularly Hibiscus Lodge, because we were all on first name terms there. Oh, you come back, Chris? You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. And but it's the problem is the health service if it was needed to be
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
That's the worry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're talking about a Caribbean island, it's probably Cuba that's the best because they've got the best health system that there is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But anyway, that's just lightheartedness. Does Terry want to say any more? Listen, she's got a fascinating background. I'm in love with her background as well. I just wish I'd have been 10 years younger and there at the time. You know.
But you know,
Well, thank God you're there now.
Well, that's what it is at the end of the day. Thank God
Yeah.
that you're here now, that you found each other, and now that you both are together, that you're able to go through this. So it's just moving forward, not giving up. So whoever your MP is, I'm going to say, Mr. MP, whoever you are, I implore you to just look at the circumstances and see where the breakdown is. We already know what the breakdown is, but I implore the MP, if he gets to watch this, please review the circumstances one more time. Allow these two people to live how they want to live. She's not there for anything. She doesn't need anything from the UK. You just want to visit your partner and spend time. So you're able to go back and forth without no issue. Okay.
Well, he
So
wants to see the
MP,
site.
please listen, hear us. It is what it is, but the situation can be changed. It can be. You have the right people looking at it because it's totally not necessary. It just seems like a waste of time going back and forth and it's falling on deaf ears. So if it is your MP, your local MP, that can assist in the matter, then by all means, I'm hoping that they are able to watch this and pick sense from nonsense and see what's really going on to let you
Well, I
be.
think I might suggest to you I'm blessed with the move that was made 3 years ago to where I am now. I'm not made to mention names, but I'm quite pleased who my MP is compared to where I was before. Do you know what I'm saying? It was, I would think, and I hope that she's a person that would listen to this and understand what's going on. She seems to be that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And just so that you know, I'm willing to write a letter on your behalf, both of you, in terms of your character or whatever. If you need a letter of character or whatever, I forget what they call it. We at SPRB would do that on your behalf as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you're two great people, and I believe the Lord put you two together for a reason, and He'll definitely make a way through for you. It's just a matter of time to get from one point to the other.
I know.
And with the love that you both have, my prayer is that He's going to bring you together.
Well, look, we're talking about mental awareness as well here. I mean, the thing is that we don't let things get us down. That's the strength of our relationship, where we can share those feelings between the two of us. to suppress them and to just carry on being in a happy relationship, because every day is a happy day for us. You know, we're still here.
Yeah.
We're still with each other.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a blessing. You know, that's an absolute blessing.
That's right.
I don't think I can't, there's not words. This is why music is so good, you know, because music can put into words what you truly feel, you know. Although I do write poems occasionally,
Yes,
they're
you do.
being published soon, actually. But I'm not a prolific writer. It's normally triggered by something, and then it just comes out. And Terry created that situation. So
Yes.
Well, let's say,
I love you, darling. I love you.
I love you too.
Well, we want to round up the show now. I want to ask Terry real quick. Like, I know Ten Star kind of asked you, but since you've been on and able to share with us, and then there was a point where we were touching on your mental health, and we saw how emotional you became. So we never wanted to push you. I want you to understand there was no pressure on you telling us your whole story in terms of your mental health, because it's evidently something that's still very difficult and something that you still have to work through as much as you have, Chris. But it's a situation. So I want you to know that we would never force you to, would have never forced you to continue your story. Again, you had your little breakdown, and we just make light of the situation right now. But since being on here, how do you feel like sharing this? Do you feel a sort of relief? Do you feel like it's given you better hope? Like, how do you feel at this present moment in time?
It's given me mental hope and also a big relief. That's why I talk to my counselor a lot, because it takes that burden off of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So
good.
it helped me out a lot speaking about it.
Okay, good. Because we know it's not something you go around telling everybody, but this will be public. You know what I mean? This will be public. And Chris, you're a man of many words to an extent. So how do you feel knowing the two of you are on briefly? Like, how do you feel that you've expressed yourself? We know your undying love for Terry. You could clearly see that, the way that the two of you feed off each other. Like, how do you feel that you've now expressed yourself, you know, for everybody to see? How do you feel?
Well, there's always a certain hesitancy with me in that regard from what we've said before. But I can talk for hours about Terry if you want me to. Do you know what I mean? She's such a part of my life now, you know. And I think I'm glad that we have spoken about this, because I don't know if other people are going through the same thing or even something that's similar. And the only thing I might add is never give up. Never give up. You know, that's what they expect, not will ever happen with us. We'll make alternate arrangements. If it can't be done the way we would like it to be done, we'll make our different arrangements around things, but we will do things, you know, and that's until the end of our time.
That's right.
You know, and we keep stacking up more and more grandchildren between us as well. Because if you add all of it together, I mean, this is really funny when you do talk to people. So there's 10 children between us, and maybe 11 if one of my nieces is sort of under my wing as well. And I've got 11 grandchildren. Terry's now got 4.
Yep.
You know, so the grandchildren are stacking up as well, which is really cool. You know. And we're just a big family. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, I get on really well with her sister, her elder sister. I get on really well with her mum. And when Terry's communicates a lot with my youngest daughter, she gets on like a storm. And we're indestructible. And that's my parting word is what we have is indestructible.
Exactly. I agree.
It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's our strength, is the two of us together as a team.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. Once you have that, let no man put us under.
That's right.
10 star, we're about to round this up. What you saying?
He's gone to sleep.
Is he?
Sorry, I'm here. I had my mic on mute. But I genuinely really do, love the both of you, man, And I know when you put good energy out into the atmosphere, you get it back, you know. And especially when you call on him, I believe when you call on him, he's going to be there for you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And he knows what you need. He knows you need each other, and he'll make a way, It's just a matter of time. And I know either one of you ain't gonna quit. You know what I mean? So, when once you put this petition forward or whatever, when you meet the MP, I believe common sense somewhere should kick in. You know, because there's no risk factor involved anyway. I don't see an issue or a problem. You know. And I'm pretty sure she's got a medication to sustain her for the length of time that she'll be coming over here or whatever, They really that I can't think of anything that would again I share my experience of when I went to whether it was New York or Florida, and I had like maybe 3 months because anytime I travel, I get my doctor to give me 3 months worth of medication,
Mm-hmm.
and I take 10 tablets to control blood pressure, right? So you can imagine my suitcase is full of medication. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
full of medication. So when they see my suitcase, they go, "Oh, what's going on here?" It goes, "Well, high blood pressure. I wish I didn't have to take it, but I do. They let me through." Once they've done their swab or their scan for, they do a scan and a swab for whether it's cocaine or whatever it is, and they realize that there's nothing there, I just breeze through. Like I say, the only airport that used to stop me for no reason whatsoever was Miami Airport.
Mm-hmm.
And when I stopped going through Miami, problem solved. I never used to go through that anymore,
Unfortunately, Miami is a hub, so for all of that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
But I was listening earlier, and just something just dawned on me. I'm wondering whether it's because of Terry's condition where they think she's going to use the NHS. It's
Well,
just a thought.
mm-hmm.
I've
And
no doubt.
rejected her based upon those principles only.
I've no doubt whatsoever. But the thing is that if you've got double the insurance cover that you need,
Mm.
that should not be a concern.
That's right. That's right.
Because it would be private doctors that would be used.
Mm.
Not the National Health Service.
Yeah.
None of that makes any sense.
Mm.
And by the way, just to close, a last comment, we never mentioned it before. That letter of refusal, they said she could not appeal the decision.
She can't appeal for what? Say that again.
She can't appeal the decision that they've made.
Wow.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Then why can't she? You didn't explain why.
No, just a statement. Just a statement at the bottom of the line.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you're gonna fight it, and when you do win, because I'm gonna speak that into existence, you should sue them. You really should sue.
You know what, General? I mean, as a younger person, I may have had the energy to want to do all that kind of thing. Let's be honest, the only the reward would be for Terry to be able to come and go, and spend some time, meet all the family properly, travel around a bit and go home. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking for retribution or revenge or anything like that. I don't think either of us are. We just want some common sense to come into play.
Yeah.
And understand the situation. And just to refer back, they obviously did not read fully through her visa application.
Yeah, it's
If
clear.
all the things we've talked about have all been explained.
Yeah.
And it's statements like she's unemployed. Well, no, she is not unemployed. She is not able to work. But she has an income to compensate for it. So she's earning, if you like, the equivalent of working.
Well, the employment status actually has nothing to do with her coming to visit. Like literally, they just found that was just an excuse they threw in it. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
She wasn't applying for work. She's not
Yeah.
trying to get a work visa. It makes no. It's that's redundant. So
And
um.
you know what? Listen, when we're talking about, because I've forgotten about history.
Yeah.
When I was managing Chris in Jamaica, I brought Chris over to England. He's been there before and returned. Okay, never had a problem with his visa. It was a work visa. He was here for 3 months and he went back on time and everything. So, if you looked at that record from my side, that's in the history of it. None of this makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's almost like the first time we made the decision, we made a decision. Don't matter how many more times you try, we made that decision back then and we're not going back on it.
Right.
It does that. I mean, I don't know if you picked up that same sort of feeling around it.
No, I have.
But that all said, we work around this. Listen, we'll go to Dublin. I'll introduce you to Thin Lizzy, although Phil's gone.
Another pint of Guinness.
Yeah, real Guinness.
Guinness.
Real Guinness,
Okay, so Sharon.
We've got to have a positive. The thing with anything that is stressful, you've always got to have a positive outlook to certain things, because otherwise you will get depressed. You will get down into the depths of depression. And then with that comes even more illness and stuff like that. You've got to rise above it, and that's where the two of us have got that strength with us. Because at any moment, if Terry feels down, she'll phone.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Yeah.
And vice versa as well. No decision is made without talking to Terry first. I hope I'm trying to, it's a serious subject what the program is about, because mental trauma comes in many forms.
Yes.
And I'm sure we're not the only people in the world that have got distance relationships.
Yeah.
We can prove that a distance relationship really works. We can prove that, with all the problems we are having. We can circumnavigate all that,
Closing thoughts,
believe in each other and make sure that the relationship is true.
100%.
Yeah. As I said before, it's really heartwarming to see the connection and the affection you both have, which I think, as we said before, has carried you through. And I know that the system is frustrating, especially to you, Chris, because it doesn't make sense, because you've covered the bases that you should. But I think part of helping yourself is to understand that no matter what you could do, or should do. The system is what it is. And I think if you understand the system, it has got inbuilt biases, and stop trying to work out the whys, because there is no real reason. So I think you have to give yourself a break and say, you know what, we've done everything we should do. There's nothing wrong with us, but it's the system that's broken, and accept that and just keep fighting, because at the end of the day, if you keep trying to wonder why, it's just a waste of energy, because the system is what it is. But as I said, commend both of you for your ability to still fight through all of this, and I think your efforts will pay off one day. It really will. But I think the key thing is just to keep the love and the affection and the connection going, because that is what is going to pull you through all the way. So I just thank both of you so much for sharing that, because I know it wasn't easy to do that, especially for you, Terry, and I really appreciate you being,
Thank
open
you.
about what you've been through. So I wish you all the best, both of you, in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rankin Man. DJ Maestro, closing thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? I don't even know how long we've been on. It just seems like we've been on for about only an hour. It's been, just listen to your story. But Terry and Chris, I'm just so glad that you guys have each other to go. You're not doing it alone. You're doing it together. And
Mm-hmm.
whether you're across the Atlantic or wherever, but Chris has said it. The love you have for each other is unbreakable. What I can see. So things. You're fighting, and I think at the end of the day, you will get the right outcome. I have no doubt about that. So thank you once again for coming on. It's not easy. It's difficult. So thank you again, and I wish you guys all the best for the future, and all the grandchildren. More to come and all that. and Terry, just keep your chin up, and I know so
Oh, I am.
things
It's
will.
not going to get me down.
Yeah, man. I could see it on your face. You're smiling. You're always smiling, and Chris is smiling. So that's good. That's good enough for everybody. So blessings to you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, DJ Maestro. Sharon B, closing thoughts. You're mute. Mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was listening. Yeah, Terry and Christopher, thank you. Your story is really deep. You know, when I think about what you guys gone through, I don't know if I could do it. I'm not strong enough, you know. But knowing that you're there for each other at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you can you take the grief and pack it in love. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is something that is really a bond, and I really thank and appreciate you guys for highlighting us and these things that is happening. Some of it we don't hear about, but your story we have heard, so we know that these things exist. you know and another thing I want to say is keep on doing what you guys are doing. Be strong for each other. We all see that you guys are really crafty and strong. So keep it up. Keep up that love between you both.
Definitely.
That is what is gonna get you through. Without that love, you, you know, you get weak. So
Mm-hmm.
keep that strength. That is the band that holds you together. You know, maybe they do you guys a favor too. Think about it that way. Maybe they're do you guys a favor, keeping you together. Can think about that also. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be like that, but you never know. Things
Right.
happen for reasons unexplained.
Wow, thank you so much, Sharon. That was so nice. God bless you, my child. That was lovely.
You're very much welcome.
Well. Terry, it's an honor to know you, my friend. The smile on your face, you could never tell anything's going on.
True.
You have that. It's just your spirituality, whatever's around you.
Mm.
Never know what's going on. You're just a very beautiful soul. So I can honestly say that this is a test, and it's a test of both your faiths. Because love conquers all. Without love, none of us could exist. Somebody loves us somewhere. Somebody's love for us is making us do certain things, right things in life. And the two of you pull together, have this love. I think what's the most beautiful thing about the relationship is the fact that you're actually not next to each other, but you have that strength like you were. That is spirituality.
Yes.
A lot of people do not have that. They'll be right next to each other and it's not even there, but there is a spirituality that shines even on you. Again, you could never know what stresses that you're going through and the situation that you were in. As same goes for Chris. Chris is just, I've gotten to know Chris, just a very genuine, straight shooter. He doesn't cut corners. He's going to tell it like it is, and it works for both of you. So I thank you both for coming on. I honestly do thank you both for coming on. It's a pleasure to know both of you. I told Chris, listen, I'm going to need you, Chris, because I'm going to have to pick your brain about certain things, in business. And I told him, he was like, yeah, Sharon, no problem. That's going to happen. He's that person who will advise you and give you the correct information. And you have the right person by your side who's there, who will listen to everything that you have to say and know how to make you, put you where that smile is, put it that way, because
yes,
that's what it is. It's that whole smile alone. You can tell you would never know your struggles. And that speaks volumes. So again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
10 star closing thoughts.
Sharon, can you see the twinkle in Chris's eye?
Oh, of course, he's saying it. You see, I like it, my name is blue. It's a shine like marble. You see it?
Yeah, man. And Sharon, let me whisper something to you.
Yeah.
Chris said he wanted to sing "You Are So Beautiful" to me,
oh,
to Terry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry? What did I do?
You said you want to sing "You Are So Beautiful" to me, to Chris.
Who was going to sing it?
You.
I don't even know the words. What are you talking about?
Oh my God! I'm saying nudge, nudge, wink,
what
wink.
What are you talking about? What you're trying to get me to sing? You keep doing this.
You are so beautiful to me.
He says that in private. He says that in private. He'll sing that to Terry in private. Don't worry, Turnstile.
Yeah, okay. Listen,
right, Chris.
there's so many different songs. There's one of our songs that came into play at a certain time was Elaine's Deeper.
Deeper.
I don't know if any of you know that song. It's just the words were specific about deeper love. You know what I mean?
What song?
And every song has a meaning between the two of us.
What song by
no
Keisha
matter what
Cole were you talking about?
Huh?
What song by Keisha Cole were you talking about? Trust and Believe or Trust with
Trust
Monica?
And Heaven Sent are the two important ones. We played them when I did your special, when Terry and I built your special Christmas tree on the radio show, where we put 4 Keisha Cole songs together, but we put our 2 at the end of that. So
right.
Didn't we?
Because I got 2 songs here, right? I got one by Keisha Cole called Trust and Believe and one called Trust.
It's just Trust. We've got the version of Trust that was done as a special by her without a co-singer.
Okay.
It was a special release, only released on iTunes as a bonus track, which is just Keisha Cole.
Right.
But no, Elaine's Deeper came in at one point.
Right.
Terry, come on, give me some names of some of the songs.
7th Street.
Oh, that was one of the first ones we made. Ours, 7th Streeter and
It
Chris
Won't
Brown.
Stop.
Okay.
And then shortly after that, Terry moved to 7 in Maryland. Can you believe we're talking about sevens again?
Right.
So,
7.
I mean, the words were just nice song, and it said all the right words at the right time, didn't it?
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, over to Sharon. Let's end the show. It's been an absolute pleasure having you both here, to tell your story. We do wish you all the best moving forward. We genuinely do. And thank you to everyone who participated on the show today and those who are listening on the outside. Okay, the show will be uploaded straight away onto YouTube within a couple minutes, and it'll be there for you, Chris, to take with you to, get the link for your MP. All right.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank all of you for your contributions and the questions you've asked, because this is an important. I can't think of a better way of suggesting to my MP that if they listen to this, they'll understand. Because can you imagine writing all this out, requesting a meeting with them?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 10 years of history there that we're talking about, So thank you, all of you.
You're
and
welcome.
Thank you for the questions and everything. We appreciate you. And General, you're like my brother anyway.
Yeah. You can't get rid of me, mate.
You know that. Only a younger brother, though.
Yep. I'm happy with younger brother. Terry, we love you like cooked food. You stay blessed now, yeah?
Thank you. Love you guys too.
Yeah.
Thank
We're
you so
going to end
much.
the show with this, and then we are going to sign out. Did you want to say something, Sharon?
Well, you told me to. Now he's cutting me off. Yes, so I'm still. Anyway, I'm just saying.
No, I thought you'd
I
finished.
want to say thank you to our team. Ranking that, I love you like there is no other. You're literally my sister from another mother. DJ Maestro, I wasn't playing when I said, if I could sell your ass, I would. And let me tell you really quick why. This man on the radio, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Dawn your wife? Who's Dawn?
Yes, she is. She is.
Right. He never fails to mention this woman's name. Never. And these kids. And he's doing his job on the radio and spinning the music like he just gets me nuts. I'm like, just send me. I was playing you yesterday like you were really live. You are an amazing individual. Thank you for being on this team.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure.
It is. That's my brother too. He's an amazing dude. Thank you. And whatever your contributions are, what you say means a lot. Just like all of you. Sharon B, thank you so much for being who you are. Beverly Notes, same for you. Love you like there is no other. Love you guys all the time. And this is an amazing team. Again, thank you, Terry and Chris, for sharing your story. It was beautiful. And it is a love story. And be grateful to the fact that not everybody has what you have. So treasure it in every aspect. Treasure what you have in every aspect. And that is what all I actually have to say. It was important to call my peoples out, very important so that you know the love I have for all of you. That being said, 10 Star was my brother from time. Throw the track on. Let's get it going, and we're going to close out the show.
Yeah. We're just going to play an advert and a bit of a song, and then we're just going to get out. We played it earlier, and I'm going to close out like this.
Blessed love universally. This is the original Mark Daddy Mike Jarrett endorsing, yes, one of the greatest podcasts that I have listened to, seen, and so happy to be a part of it. I'm talking about SPRB podcast with 10-star general and the original, yes, Sharon Mango, tell it to the world. Let them know that this podcast, hey, run things universally. Mark Daddy said that. Mark Daddy. Mark Daddy, Mark Daddy, Mark Daddy. Oh, Mark Daddy. Yes, bless up 10-star general and the original Sharon Mangos. Them run things when you talk about podcasts here. Blessed love.
Now this is the original Mark Daddy, Mikey Jarrett. Big up SPRB Radio. Run the track.
Break out the food and the drinks, it's gonna be a party. Turn up the music real loud, invite everybody. Go right ahead and smoke and play some cards, just make yourself at home. It's okay to take somebody's hand and get your groove on. We're all up in here, slamming good people. I love to see my people come together, talking about friends.
Now this is the original Mark Daddy, Mikey Jarrett. Big up SPRB Radio.
I'm talking about friends and family.